As I have been telling you, Hector Maldonado is going to be our guest. And Hector, did I get your last name right? Because people are going to be hearing that name quite a bit.
Yes, you did, John. That's exactly it.
We appreciate you being here, and you are running for the U.S. Senate. Quite a chore to run for our Senate here in the state of Missouri, and we're going to talk about that. But first, we want to talk about you and your background, Hector, and tell us a little bit about your background. Where were you born, raised, that sort of thing?
Okay. Well, I was born in Mexico. I am the son of a visa migrant worker in California. My dad came to the United States in 1950, and he worked the fields. He worked really hard to save up money, always wanting to live the American dream. I was raised just outside of Los Angeles. Went to school, public schools in Los Angeles. I went to Cal State University in San Bernardino. In 1995, I became a U.S. citizen. In 1996, I graduated from college and went into the military, which I've served since 1996, active duty and National Guard. After college education, it's really not the norm to go into the military. Was that what you wanted to do, or what? It is, because I was afforded the opportunity to become a citizen, and the privilege of all the freedoms that our founding fathers had established for us. I felt an obligation to give back to my country that had given me that opportunity. So I wanted to serve, and that's why I chose to go in the military.
What is your college degree in?
Political science, with also an emphasis in political philosophy.
So now, as you're going into political science, was your dream to be a politician, a U.S. senator someday?
No, you know what, John? I never ever dreamt of being here. I never cared to run for election. I never cared to go into government or politics. Just over the course of a year now, after careful consideration, I decided this is what I needed to do. So on January 5th, I woke up at 2:34 in the morning and decided that this is what I need to do, and here I am.
The last 15 years you spent in the military.
Yes, sir.
The U.S. Military, that's been quite a run there, because during that, at least the last 10 years, it's been really something. And you spent a lot of time in those countries that we're at war with, haven't you?
I have. I'm a veteran of Afghanistan, and I'm a veteran of Operation Iraqi Freedom. More importantly, though, John, is in '99, when I left active duty the first time, I took a job in the Bronx, New York. I was working as a civilian in the medical field industry. And I was a witness to the terrorist attacks in New York City. And I saw the plane hit the building. As a commander of a National Guard unit in the Bronx, that day solidified my commitment to my country and doing everything that I can to keep it safe here for the sake of my children and my unborn grandchildren.
You were one of the first responders, is that correct?
As far as the National Guard, I didn't go down there as one of the responders. I was one of 3 units that responded, National Guard units. So we were actually down there about 2.5 hours after the 2 towers had crumbled down.
Now, is that, at that point, you said, I'm getting back in full-time in the military, or was that what convinced you to do that?
Well, I did. I was committed to go back into the military. Once you leave active duty, it's kind of hard to get back in. And the restrictions, the education, everything that you have to go, the retraining to go back active duty regular Army, it's kind of tough. So I stayed in the National Guard, and I stayed in New York until 2003, serving on Operation Noble Eagle, which is just Homeland Defense. In December of 2003, my unit was mobilized, and they went to Iraq. So I went to Iraq in March of 2004.
You recently got out of the military, correct?
Yes. Sunday, February 28th, I'm officially off active duty at my request. I put in a request to leave office so I can run for U.S. Senate.
How did you end up in Sullivan, Missouri? Because this is where your home is, correct?
It is, yes. Well, when I went to Iraq, I got divorced. A lot of the struggles, and I think this some people don't understand, the commitment of military personnel, National Guard, to go away, be away from their friends, family. It takes a toll on the family. I neglected my family. My priority was to keep my country safe. I didn't do a good enough job to make my ex-wife understand. So for that, I take full responsibility. I just totally neglected that part of my responsibility. So I got divorced before I went to Iraq. When I came back, she had remarried and moved here. So we have a son from that marriage. So I made a commitment, and after a couple of months of Zachary saying, "Dad, I wish you could move here. I wish Mom could move to California," I decided to make his wish come true, and I moved to Sullivan.
You've already beaten several odds, I think. Born in Mexico, graduating from college in Los Angeles, being in New York when all this happened, going to Iraq, Afghanistan, and I think you were in Bosnia too, weren't you?
Yes, I was a peacekeeper in Bosnia in 1997.
And
yes.
I know, having a son both in Bosnia and Afghanistan, I know that in Bosnia they fought each other mainly, so you kind of had to stay out of the way, and it's really tough being peacekeeper there as well. So I know that you've been through quite a bit. Now you've got an uphill climb for the U.S. Senate here in the state of Missouri. You and I talked before we went on the air. You know that. You've got to get your name out there. You're committed to doing that, though.
I am. I left my job, my only source of income. My job is going to be and I started on Monday already, until August 3rd, is to get on the street from sunup to sundown, meet. I'm committed to meeting every single Missourian and giving them my story. And I have a very interesting story to tell. I think once they hear me, they hear who I am, what I've accomplished, what I stand for, and the reason why I'm doing this, I have no doubt that they're going to get behind me.
Well, let's talk about that. What is your reason for running for the U.S. Senate?
Well, John, there's no single one reason. Like I said, I've been thinking about it for about over a year now. But I'm just really, I'm frustrated with our national leaders not setting the priorities straight. When I came back from Afghanistan in January 2009, I was laid off. And it took 9 months before I actually end up going back into the military to get a job. And I didn't find the job. I had to go back in the military. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of friends, neighbors, family that lost their jobs, and all I see is our leaders trying to force this national health care reform, which Americans don't want. We want jobs. Mm-hmm. So that's the biggest reason, and that's the single most important reason behind my platform, is to create jobs, stimulate the economy, and get people back to work.
I think many of our politicians tell us what we want to hear, till they get elected, and then they do what they want to do. Mm-hmm. And a U.S. Senator, I think, is in, 6 years or something? That's a long time for somebody to be in office. And then they spend 10 terms in office, it seems like. So you're running on the Republican side.
Correct.
Are you consider yourself a conservative? What do you consider yourself?
I am a conservative. I like to be called a Lincolnian Republican conservative. Abraham Lincoln is, I believe, second to Jesus Christ, the single most patriotic and pure man that walked this earth. So I live by his virtue, I live by his values, and I hope to inspire the rebirth of the party of Lincoln.